right, so if y'all can hear me, pretty busy on traffic today. So I wanted to test, everybody talks about shooting long range. Long range. Can't the deer hear your arrow? Obviously, we all know the deer can hear your arrow. Can the deer hear your bow is the question. What I want to find out is how far can a deer actually hear your bow go off? So I got a GoPro set down here, and that's what's gonna act as the deer's ears. Now, obviously, a deer's ears are gonna be a lot better than the GoPro, but if the GoPro can pick it up, then you know a deer's ears can. So right here, we got the target, we got the GoPro set up, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to 20 yards, and then I'm gonna step back, so 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth, and see just how far that, now we got wind we're fighting with and everything, so this probably ain't the best conditions. If the GoPro ain't able to pick it up really good, then we'll just switch cameras over, and I think my phone has pretty good microphone on it, so then we'll switch to that. But for right now, let's start at 20 yards and then work our way back and actually see how far a whitetail can hear your bow go off. I tell you what, it's just absolutely hammering that freaking hole wall. Okay, YOLO. Oh, it actually got it. Good deal. Okay. Okay. So we're back. We're gonna go over the footage and everything else and see how it come out and see how everything did. So we only made it back to about 80 yards, which I think is fairly decent given the amount of rain was picking up and everything else and the amount of wind. So with all the vehicles coming down the road too, trying to get good audio through that, I think we're good at 80. So let's run through and go over these and check out. So here's 20 yards. Okay, so I did hear the bow go off and I heard the arrow, but it was pretty quick, and just about as fast as the bow went off, the arrow was like there. So let's move on to the next one. Definitely could hear it at 30. I could hear the bow go off and I could hear the arrow go off at 30. Still pretty quick at 30. I don't think it would have any issues with a deer trying to duck it at 30. I could definitely hear the bow go off, and then it was smacking the target not very shortly after. Here's 40. I could hear the bow go off at 40, and then I could hear the arrow as well. Couldn't really hear the arrow that much though. To be honest, I could hear the bow go off, and then I really couldn't hear the arrow that much. Whether the sound of the wind was blocking it out or what, but definitely heard the bow go off at 40 yards. Okay, I heard the bow go off, and I heard the arrow a pretty good ways through there. Okay, I could hear that arrow from guessing from about 15 yards away before it hit the target. So I can hear the bow go off, and I can hear that arrow going down through there. So if you got ducked by a deer at 50, they can hear your bow and they can hear your arrow. So 50 might not be very good. I've shot deer at 40. I haven't shot any. It's either I've shot deer at 40 and 55 and 60. And I'm pretty sure that the only reason that one didn't duck me at 55 was because the wind, something was blocking the sound of it. It was howling when I shot her. So yeah, I can hear 50. If you've been ducked at 50, that's why. Heard the bow go off at 60, and I could hear that arrow coming through there, but not as bad as I did at 50. You can faintly hear just a and then the arrow just hits the target. You don't hear it, and that's kind of weird because you hear it more at 50 than you do, then you hear the arrow more at 50 than you do 60, which is ignorant. I heard the bow going off at 70. The arrow sounded the same as 60. It was still quieter than at 50 yards. I mean, it sounded the same at 60. I mean, you could hear it about 10 yards from the target, and it was just a very quiet, just through there. But a deer, this is a GoPro, so a deer's ears are cupped like this. Everybody knows a deer's ears are cupped. And what that's going to do is amplify sound down to the ear canal, and it's just going to sound louder to them versus a GoPro mic. So whatever we're hearing right now, a deer's going to hear it better. So they can hear the bow go off at 70. Still hear it at 80. It's very faint. It sounds like just a little, like you remember them, you remember them little poppers you got for Halloween or 4th of July as a kid? It's like them little poppers you get at 4th of July as a kid and you throw down on the ground. Those sound louder than that going off at about 80 yards. Because those little poppers sound like 22 mag. But that is very quiet, and still the arrow arrow's even quieter at 80 yards. So I mean they're gonna faintly hear the bow at 80, but I cannot hear the arrow at 80 yards. Of course, it was very windy, but it sounds like the further you go back, the quieter the arrow's getting. And that must have to do with it, you know, losing momentum and everything at that distance. Because whenever you shoot it shorter, it's got more momentum, it's got more kinetic energy. It's still building energy up as it's traveling at 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, whatever, even 60 yards. But when you get 70, 80, it's losing a little bit of momentum. So it's probably quieting that down, and that's my guess on it. But yeah, can faintly hear it at 80, and then can't even hear the arrow. So that's all the collective information that I have. Take from this on what you want. I really enjoyed this test, and I like doing testing like this because my brain gets curious on wondering why deer do certain things, what my equipment, you know, does, and what, you know, like this, what does it sound like? So when I know when I shoot at a deer at a certain distance, this is what they're going to hear, this and that and everything else. And it builds your confidence up to know of like, hey, I can actually do this, or I can't do this or anything like that. So I appreciate you guys tuning into this video. I hope you like it. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this and testing. I'll see you guys on the next one.